Welcome to Sportsbook Review. What a joy and what a privilege for you low baggers that I'm going to be doing betting with a bag. Jimmy's let me sit in his seat, and by the way, this is one hot seat when your master goes 7-0 last week in the NFL, and the NCAAB guru Maxwell Smart is going to be with me very, very soon. I'm not messing about. I'm just going to get him on. I'm going to get him and let him just run away with all his selections and find out why he slept so well last night. Maxwell, are you there?
Yes, I am, Flash, and I'm glad to be here with you. Glad to have a world-class host stepping in for another world-class host in Jimmy the Bag, so I'm ready to get down to it.
And how was last night? We're only as good as our last game, so last night, treat you well.
Last night was great for me personally, and it was also great for the show. So I believe that would be 2 nights of profit in a row. I broke the losing streak on the play of the day with the UCLA over, and I believe that I finished 23-14, up close to 6.75 units. Jimmy will have to do the record keeping once he gets back. But that's my rough count as of right now. So I slept very good. The local pipe fixers, they got their quotas filled, and I'm ready to just get down with this next card today because we got a lot of games already going on, and I'm already sweating.
And how, I was going to say to you, how are the energy levels? I think it's over 1,000 bets up to tonight, up to last night. We were talking on the live line when we did the Ravens blowout against the Rams. And now we're looking and thinking, here we go again. New morning, new day, start from naught.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so the first game that we're going to talk about is this Ball State game. So for this Ball State game, I took the under. I think that if you looked at my Twitter, you've already seen that. With this Ball State team, I think that they're going to be playing a slower pace, a better defensive game, because what do we know about Western Illinois? Without Brandon Gilbeck, this is a team that wants to run and gun against you. They want to get up and down the floor, and Ball State, I don't think that their personnel best suits that type of game. I think that they win with defense, win off creating with defensive rebounds, going into transition, getting to the line like that. The one thing that you'll have to do with Western Illinois is keep them off the free throw line where they're shooting close to 88 or close to 86% on the year, and that's one of Ball State's main weaknesses. But I think that defensively, that's where Ball State's going to come to play tonight. I think they're going to be able to keep this game under. I was looking at Western Illinois as a side, but opening at 17 and going down to 14.5, you're really taking the ass end of the line, and I can't really advise anybody doing that.
So what's your number there? You're under what, Max?
Under 145.5, and I got the juice at minus 109, Flash.
Okay, fire away. Where's your next one going?
Okay, so we're going to go to this Arizona State-Princeton game. This is a simple play. We're going to take Arizona State on the over. I got over 142.5 at minus 109, and I just think that with this Arizona State team now healthy with Tyshawn Cherry back, I think that it's just a spot where we're going to see Arizona State really step on someone's throat, and we've seen Princeton oblige to these types of scoring games. Let's keep in mind Arizona State just lost a close game to the University of Virginia, and whenever a team plays Virginia and then plays another team after, they usually have an easier time scoring the basketball, and I expect Arizona State to do this tonight. Princeton's going to allow a team to score between 72 to about 95 points. We saw what happened in the second half against Duquesne. This team can be susceptible to long offensive runs by the other team. And with Remy Martin and Rob Edwards, I have a lot of confidence in them being able to get at least up to 85 or 90 points, and Princeton being able to do the rest and get us over this number. So over 142.5 was a number that, by my created line, was an edge that I had to play.
Yeah, we like your edges. You have to play. Over 1,000 bets already. Let's not take breath. Get on with it.
All right, so we're going to go to this East Tennessee State game, and that's going to be against App State. I do believe that this is a home game for ETSU, which made me like it a lot more, especially on the spread. I think that this ETSU team is very deep. I think that they're the class of the Southern Conference, and it starts with their point guard and their floor general, Bo Hodges. He's got to stay on the floor. He's got to make good decisions with the ball. And I think that a guy like Patrick Good and a guy like Jeremy Rodriguez both do different things offensively, different parts of the floor. And as long as they're humming and puffing tonight, I think that Tennessee State, with their type of defensive intensity on the three-point line, and they're really good shooting from the field at close to 50%. This is a team that I want to back in this type of spot. I don't think we're going to have a game like Winthrop. I don't think that App State can bring that type of pressure. And I also have to point out that Justin Forrest is in a huge shooting slump. And when Justin Forrest isn't on point for App State, that's their main offensive weapon. And I struggle to put my money on App State when he's not on fire. So, East Tennessee State -11 and -110 is what I got. Now, the next game, Flash, is actually going to be a game that's close to my heart. I saw these wonderful young men play basketball the other week at the James Naismith Classic. They say Bonaventure Bonnies. Listen, this is a play that I'm a little hesitant to suggest that you guys tail, but when I ran my numbers, saw my created line, looked at the edges that I had on this game, whether it be the home court advantage at Olean for St. Bonaventure, discounting the record, because what happened in the FAU game versus Florida Gulf Coast? We saw a Florida Gulf Coast team that was winless. What do? Come back from down 15 points, go to overtime, win the game. I think that St. Bonaventure has that same opportunity tonight. I'm just fearful for how they start the game. I think it's going to be critical for guys like the two freshmen, Winston and Alejandro Vasquez, to get off. They had terrible games against Canisius. I look for them to bounce back in a non-rivalry spot. And I think that St. Bonnie's are able to feed off the student crowd section, which is a very good-looking student crowd section. And I think that they're going to be able to get this number home for us tonight. I believe that you can get 5.5 now, but at 6, I still feel very comfortable and confident about it.
Max, how important is home court for these smaller schools?
It depends on where the home court is and how into the fan base of the basketball team is. For a team like St. Bonaventure or a team like Texas A&M Corpus Christi, they both play in small buildings, but one is a rabid home fan base and one doesn't even give a shit about the basketball team. So it's really a team-by-team basis that you have to look at that from, and not have a generalized view.
And you have these smaller schools that go to the bigger courts with more fans. Is it one of those that inspires, or would you like to go against them thinking they might be a cat in the head or rabbit in the headlights?
I think that sometimes with some of these small schools going to like a big arena like Barclays Center in Brooklyn, you have to deal with the different lighting. You have to deal with the size of the crowd. You have to deal with the sighting, the line sighting behind and from the basket, which I think that has a big impact on some of these guys that have never played in a building like that. But if you bring some Arizona Wildcats into the Barclays Center, they played in buildings like that, and I think that wouldn't faze them as much. In the first half, that's a good way to jump on a total and jump on an under. So,
okay. Well, first of all, I'm going to pick you up on something. You said close to your heart. If you had one, don't try and fool me by saying you've got one. Now, get on to your next pick.
Okay, so we're going to go to this William and Mary game, and pretty much I feel like William & Mary is going to be able to entice Morehead State to not play a slow down type of game where Morehead State's only giving up 62 points and they've already had 4 games of their 5 go under. I think tonight we really see William & Mary take advantage of their size with Nathan Knight and Andy Van Vliet, who are basically twin towers in the CAA. I can't wait till they are unleashed. I'm looking for Thornton and Lowe to go off from the three-point range. They're coming off a couple poor shooting performances. And I'm looking for this to be a slobber knocker and for it to end up for it to end up being tight at the end and dependent on free throws. I think that Morehead State plays aggressive man-to-man defense, and they're not afraid to see a lane open and penetrate right away and not try and work the shot clock. For a team like that, I think that we definitely have to take notice of the fact that they have been playing unders, but this is a perfect time to jump on an over. I do respect that the line has moved against me on this game, but I've laid it, and that's what live betting's for. If you see a bet that you feel and are watching that you see going down, the easiest way to do it is to frickin' hit a live play on it and try and buy off of it.
Alec, we've got someone in here saying about Kansas tonight. What do you think?
About Kansas?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really think that this is a game that I can really recommend to anybody right now. As far as the total, the over was the play to make, in my opinion. I think that both these teams are going to be able to shoot the ball against each other. We saw how Jake Toolson played last night. He was just making shot after shot from anywhere on the court that he wanted. I think that the same situation is going to be coming up in this Kansas versus BYU game that happened last night. How is BYU going to deal with the size of Kansas? Kansas has more skill, but Kansas has less three-point shooting. I think that BYU hangs in this game, and if you can get 11 or 11 and a half, I think that's definitely a play that I would recommend making. And as far as the total, when it opened at 142 and a half and it's up to 146, I think there's going to be points. I'm respecting this line move, and being on it when it opened and seeing it there now, I still think that it gets into the 150s.
Okay, well, Roger Gilden, his question was, what do you think of Kansas first half? You've answered that. Back on your track, my lad.
Okay, so we're going to go over to the DePaul game. This is a DePaul team that definitely has shown that they can put up a lot of points in their games, but I think that you really have to think about who they're playing at those times. And I think that at a line of 157, 156 and a half, that's asking for a lot to go right. Central Michigan has inflated stats. Let's just knock that out of the park. 99 points a game. That is not true. That's not indicative of how they've matched up against D1 competition, because we remember when they played Minnesota, they only scored 57 points. When they played Sam Houston State, they had a bit of a higher scoring game, but I look at this matchup tonight against DePaul as a similar situation. You have a dominant big man in Paul Reed in the middle who protects the rim as long as he stays out of foul trouble. You have a star freshman that's exploding before our very eyes, does it on both ends of the court in Romeo Weems, and Charlie Moore. He's so excited to play basketball that he's taking a god-forsaken amount of shots a game. And I think that with that volume, we're going to see an impressive double-digit win performance out of DePaul. And I think that they're going to win with their defense because that's what they do best, in my opinion. 28% from the three-point line, 36% from the field. Obviously, take that with a cup of tea because of the competition, but I think that they're true reflective numbers. I watched them on the foreign tour, and the under's a play that I had to make as soon as I saw it pop up. Okay.
On to the next one then, please, Max. Keep them coming.
Yeah, Flash, no problem. We'll go over to Eastern Washington and Belmont. This is a game where I like the dog on a side, but the play that I want to make and give out for the show would be the under. I think that this number's been bouncing around back and forth all day, which gives me a good feel for my created line being hopefully on the right side. Definitely keep in mind that Belmont is a different team on the road than they are at home. We've seen that over and over again. We saw them lose against Illinois State in the opener of the season. They're only giving up 67 points where Eastern Washington's only giving up 63. I think that those are true indicative numbers based on the competition that they played, both playing 4 to 5 D1 competition. And I think that we're going to see a game tonight where we're going to see some of these guys struggle from the field. I think that it's going to be defensively intense. I think that with Eastern Washington, you have good size in the backcourt to go up against Belmont, and I question some of the decision-making of Belmont. We saw in their last game that there were some issues. They weren't able to get off a good shot against St. Louis, and I think on the road, they're susceptible, and I think that in this type of game at this type of number. I was looking at the under all the way through and matched up with my created line. If it was in the 140s, that'd be a different story.
Okay, we're looking at some of these games, and I know you've got plenty to be going through, but have you changed your mind on any? You look at it and think, I want to be that side, but the numbers moved against me.
As far as the number moving against me, the only number that moved against me was the San Francisco game, and that already lost. The Idaho game, that's a spread that I missed. It's at +9 right now, but I'm still comfortable with it at +7.5. Aside from that, I'm pretty comfortable with where I am in my positions. I beat a line movement by 1.5 on the IUPUI game, 2.5 points on the Navy game. I'm around the number or 1.5 depending on where you place your bets. And obviously, you go to Sportsbook Review and you can get a quick link to the best sportsbooks and obviously to their sportsbook homepages to sign up. Yeah, the only game that I'm worried about, Flash, is this Duke game. Stephen F. Austin definitely has shown that they can put up some points against inferior competition. But what do we see against Rutgers? Rutgers, they scored 57 points. Now you're going against Duke and with the Cameron crazies yelling at you, saying all kinds of freaking nasty things. I think that Duke, first off, puts a thumping on Stephen F. Austin. I'm not going to tell you to go take -30. I would never do that on this game. But as far as the under 150, this is something that I did last year with Duke. And Duke's not as good a three-point shooting team as they have been previous years. The last 2 years, they've been pretty crappy. So that's the one that I have a little apprehension about, but I'm not getting off of it. I got to trust my numbers. I got to trust my capping before anybody else's.
Okay, we've got low baggers in the house, and we've got Jarmel Price saying, what about Wichita State?
Okay, so, well, this Wichita State game was a play that I made early. I did miss the best of the line at -1.5. It did, from what I can remember, is up to 4, I believe, Flash. You'd have to double check to correct me on that if I've misspoken. But this is a Wichita State team with Trey Wade that I'm just really impressed with the quality and depth that they have. They got multiple guys at different positions that can come through for you and exploit a particular matchup versus an opponent. South Carolina wants to play at a faster pace. They want to run and gun, but they don't have the offensive efficiency numbers that prove that that's the right way to play. I think that their best bet is to try and slow this game down, limit Wichita State to as many possessions, because if Wichita State starts to run and they start to freaking make high percentage buckets, it could be over real quickly for for South Carolina. And by my numbers, I had Wichita State up to 5.5 points. So 2.5, 4 points. It's still a play that I advocate, and it's still a play that I support people making at the number that it's at. Okay,
Justin Bilbo wants to know about the Stanford game.
Yeah, listen, this is a risky pick. I was going against my own number. I don't have the value off my created line, but from what I watched of Stanford against Oklahoma last night, and I watched the majority of the game, I can't go against them right now with points. So 3.5, 4 points, that was reasonable enough to me. I think that they're able to play in this game, if not win this game outright. So if you had to freaking be on a side with a hot team right now that's playing good on a neutral court and playing good defense, you got to go with Stanford. And I think that they're going to have a tough game against Butler tonight, but I just think that they're able to take care of business.
Newfie Roman says, what about Pacific? What about Pacific, Max?
This is an interesting game for me. I only feel the dog in this. I think that this is a lot of points for Pacific to be laying. I won't doubt that they can win this game. I just don't think that they have a home crowd environment that will benefit them. And I think that they don't go into their big men enough. McRae's a very good, solid, wide piece that they can use and exploit teams without size. And I think that SIU Edwardsville showed me and beat me a couple times already this season that they have a little bit of grit, they have a little bit of fight, and it's always easier to get a backdoor cover than it is to get a double-digit favorite cover, in my opinion, even though I do take a lot of double-digit favorites.
Okay, well, Ron Lofton in the chat says you've got to go with Cal Irvine and over, both easy cashes. Well, talking of easy cashes, crack on with a few more for me.
Yeah, so let's move on to one of my latest picks. Apologize. We already spoke about the Idaho game, Longwood. All right, so Longwood, you guys know how I feel about Longwood. I'm pretty much trying to find a way onto them every game. I think that they're just going up against a UC Riverside without Dikembe Martin that lacks guard scoring, in my opinion. I think that Riverside tonight is going to have to deal with a Longwood team that plays with a lot of depth. You know, they have a lot of different guys that they can throw at you. Obviously, they got Shabuti Phillips, who I don't understand what the hell's going on with the rotation. They don't write anything about it in the local papers. But I have to focus on a guy like Abraham Dang at 6'11" to come through. I need guys like Jalen Wilson and Jashawn Smith and Christian Wilson. Those are the guys that have been able to consistently score, rebound, and play good defense for this team. I think that they're going to have their hands full with Cal McRae, but that's why Abraham Dang has been brought in. With his size, he's got to be the guy that stays out of foul trouble, stays on the floor, and can contribute offensively, because Caleb McRae, he's a real impressive player to me. I've been really impressed with him, not just because he's tall and I'm short, but on the floor, he is quite efficient with his shot selection. And I think that Longwood's going to have a really difficult time. On the other side of the coin, I don't understand why this line is at 5.5. I don't understand why this line is 6. I don't understand the love for UC Riverside. It was simply take Longwood or pass. When you got 5 or 6 guys that are averaging between 7 and 10 points, they are good, decent free throw shooters. How can you not go with that? And you're spotting them 5.5 or 6. Listen, the Highlanders have some potential once they're fully healthy, but at this point, there's nothing in me that can sway somebody to go over to the dark side.
Yeah, talking of dark side, Ron Lofton's just gone there because he said about the both the over cash-in. Well, they would do because the game's just finished. 100% record for that lad, and it will not get any worse if he waits till the results finished before he says anything. Top Set says, out of the live games, is there any plays that are interesting you?
All right, let me pull up the live menu right now. So Jay Money and I, we spoke today. We're on the South Alabama. We missed the halftime lines for that. They're up 40-33, so I won't have anything going there. As far as this Old Dominion Washington State game, I'm looking to get on the over live. I see it at 127.5. Now it's up to 130. If I can get under 126, that's something that I'll jump on. I had my number at 129 at this game, and I think that it's going to come down to free throws. I think it's going to be close all the way to the end. As far as the New Mexico-Wisconsin game, I'm sitting tight on it right now. I have New Mexico in the under, and I'm just hoping for Wisconsin not to make a comeback. But at -2.5 on New Mexico for the full game, that would be the only play on the board that I'd be looking at making, aside from if I can get my number in the Washington State game.
Okay, Fat Fisty in the house with the big boss and Top Set. They're all starting to come home now, and we want to know about Mexico Live.
Mexico Live?
Yeah, Fat Fisty saying Mexico Live.
Well, he's going to have to be more specific because...
You come on, Fat Fisty, sort yourself out. Okay, you go on and I'll wait for him to sort his game out.
Okay, so we're almost done with the games that have already been out on Twitter. IUPUI's already started, so we won't even talk about that. Navy, okay, Navy Cornell. This is a simple spot for me. I think that Cam Davis and John Carter are going to be able to penetrate, get to the bucket, get to the free throw line. I think that Cornell with Jimmy Boeheim, I think that they're going to be ready for a get-right game. I think that this is the type of game that they have played on a year-to-year basis, I believe. And I think that coming off a win last year against a better Navy team, in my opinion, I think that they're going to be able to have the advantage, and I think that they're going to be able to take care of business. I don't know why the line opened at this. I don't understand it. I think that people are putting a little too much faith into what Cornell is doing on the road. But as far as the total, like, I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, Navy's 0-4 to the under this year. They played in this point range before only once, and it went under. If you want to give me under 120, I got to have faith in two bad teams being able to score enough against each other and foul each other enough. And without, we have to also remember that Navy is a Patriot League team. So what's a safe bet to make? What have we learned from the Godfather of Volume? That Patriot League games go over a lot. So.
Okay, Navy. And we're taking 117. That's a low total, Max. That looks like low-hanging fruit.
I thought it was, but the line has jumped. It's up to 122.5. I see a 121. I see a 120.5. It's all over the place. The bookmakers don't know what they're doing. But yeah, it's a line that I create lines for every game, for every total, and if I have an edge, I gotta play it. Like, I got a clicky finger flash.
So if someone comes late to the party and there's still drinks on the table, will you let them chase the 121 and over?
No, I wouldn't. I don't want to risk someone else's money with the ass end of the line. I believe that it still goes over, but I cannot, as a tipster or as someone that comes on a show and breaks down games for you, like, with my heart, give you that kind of advice.
Okay, on the opposite end of the spectrum, we've got JMU under 160. They'd have to shoot the lights out to get over 160.
Listen, I don't understand why this line is as high as it is. I don't see these teams going over 152. So this was a game that I had to just play on pure value perspective. James Madison, I was wearing their nice purple shirt last night on the live line and on just on the live line. But I think that tonight against Coppin State, they're going to have their hands full. This is a really good Coppin State team when it comes to covering numbers. It's actually going to be a play that I want to add as my first edition flash, Coppin State plus 11. But as far as the under, I just think that you have two teams that don't give up even close to 80 points a game. Coppin State gives up 75. James Madison gives up 69. Obviously, we're falling a little in love with James Madison's offensive performances the last two games, and I think that we really need to just settle that down. Some of their stats is inflated from a 96 performance against a D2 team, and in this game, I just don't see it going over 160. Listen, I was completely wrong on the San Fran game. I could be wrong here. It happens a lot with the volume better. But as far as I see it, I don't see the offensive efficiency from the three-point line to predicate a line like this. I don't see Coppin State being efficient enough from the field, let alone. Neither of these teams shoot over 40%. Both these teams shoot around 30% from the three-point line, and none of them shoot over 65% from the free throw line. So, under. That's how I'm looking. And Coppin State, they're a covering machine right now. No point in getting off the train. Give me Coppin State plus 11, please.
Okay, UNLV, you're happy to give up 13.5, Max?
Yeah, I think that UNLV smacks Jackson State in the mouth tonight. I think that it's a home game. I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but I think that UNLV is just head and shoulders better than Jackson State. I think that with Jackson State, you have a team that, if you're spotting 25 points, that's a different story. Then I'm looking at them a little harder. But offensively, they just don't have the parts that can really impress me. Tristan Jarrett's a decent three-point shooter at 35%, but when your top scorer is shooting 66% from the free throw line, well, I can't trust a guy like that. I think that Benji Wells is working his way back from an injury, and I think that without his three-point shooting and his defensive presence, I think that it's really having a negative effect on Jackson State. And it puts a lot of pressure on Javius McKinney, and we know what he does at the free throw line. He freaking airballs it. I've seen a couple airballs from him already. I've laughed out loud to myself, and the only person that reacted was my dog Oliver. So in this spot, I'm taking Amari Hardy. I'm taking Donnie Tillman. I'm taking my Canadian brethren Elijah Mitru Long and UNLV minus 13.5.
Okay. Day Giles Miles says, what does Max think of California minus 12?
Yeah, this is a real hard spot for me to get on. I respect guys like Ron Crawford that are real heavy and real feeling this hard. And it could very easily be a 20-point win considering what California's had to go through as far as past opponents in the last couple games. And there's nothing like getting a game against UC Davis to get right. But the problem is the line's going one way and the ticket count and the amount of money is on the other side. So I'm hesitant to get on it. And right now, it's a play that you'll definitely have to just look at on my Twitter. And if I'm on it, you'll see it. If not, I just don't have anything tangible to pass along.
You said that Stanford plus 3.5 was a bit of a risky bet. Duke under 150. Is that not bang on the money?
Under 150? Yeah, I think so. I think that you're in a good position. I think that you definitely have two teams that are catered towards that type of scoring effort. But if Stanford is going to win this game, they're going to be dragging Butler into a little bit of a higher scoring game. If you were giving me a line at 120, at like 140 instead of 124, that's a different story. But Butler, Stanford at that line, that's a tough call for me. That's a stay away.
Okay, what about Lamar plus 7? Happy to have the points on your side.
Absolutely. I think that this is a spot where I think that no one's realizing that Zach Bryan has been dismissed from UAB. That's their best offensive player. UAB could play defense, but I question where the consistent scoring is going to come from. And with this Lamar team, I've watched them. I've cashed a couple times on them, and I think that I'm a little smitten with them. I think tonight that a lot of people are not doing their research, thinking that UAB is a head and shoulders better than this Lamar team, but I got to disagree. I think that TJ Atwood, I think that guys like Davion Buster and Avery Sullivan are going to be able to run amok tonight. I think that they stay within the number. I also have a personal bet on the money line. So I'm taking a shot with them. Listen, I do have a little bit of fear with Lamar's free throw shooting, but UAB is doing nothing from the three-point line. Both these teams play good perimeter defense. I think that cancels out, and I think it's the team who can score the most points, and I'll take Lamar in that effort.
Okay, well, moving on. We're going to go Portland State, and you're happy with minus 4 at 105, minus 105.
Well, Flash, I'm even happier because it cashed. So it's a winner already. Portland State beat Grambling State by 10 points. And I'm 1-1 on the day. San Francisco was a loser. Portland State was a winner.
And these are the ones you tweeted out earlier?
These are my official betting with the bag picks.
Nice, we like that. Well, get back on your train and give us some more winners, please.
Okay, so let's go with one of my favorite teams that I think that you guys know that I like is Bryant Bulldogs. So Bryant's going into New Hampshire tonight. The line is already moving in their favor. I believe that they are somewhere between 1 and 2 right now. Excuse me. Just pulling up the line. So yeah, I think that this New Hampshire team definitely is underrated. They've done a good job on the spread so far this year, but I think that this is a get-right game. I think that when Bryant went into Drexel, they were playing a team that, from a schematic standpoint, they were at a disadvantage. I think that tonight they are more even keel with New Hampshire. New Hampshire's played a tough schedule. They played BU, they played San Jose State, they played James Madison, all respectable games, but definitely inflated numbers. I think at a number like this is a win-loss type of game, and the only way I can go is Bryant. And what I'm going to do is, sometimes this doesn't work out good for me. My numbers say that Bryant is the play on the first half and that Bryant has a 3-point advantage. So if I can get Bryant minus 1.5 or under 2 on the first half, and then whatever they're at right now, -1 for the full game, I would take that. But I got a line shop here. Do you have your SBR odds page open?
I normally do. What do you want to know, my friend?
I'm actually just line shopping this game right now on the SBR page while we're sitting here, and I'll say that what my official picks will be, if you can write them down, Flash, is that I'll take Bryant minus. I'll actually take him at a pick'em line at -110 at Bet Online, and then I will take them at plus half a point at -105.
Okay, you got mine. You can have a pick'em at Bet Online at -110 against New Hampshire, and opened up -2, and now mainly -1. But there is a pick'em available at Bet Online, so form an orderly queue and go and get fed. Kick on.
And can I also get the first half on Bryant also?
Hang on. Let's have a little look. Let's see what they're offering you. The first half is 10-3. Yeah, there's nothing coming up, Max.
Oh, you're not seeing first half
Hang on.
minus half a point?
Hang on. Oh, I am now. Bovada, Heritage, 5 dimes. Pinnacle's a pick'em at -129 the juice. So 5 dimes or Bovada. -105, Heritage -110. Leave them alone. Go and have a bit of Bryant at -0.5.
I like it. Let's double up on Bryant.
So Bryant gets the tick.
Yes, sir.
What else you got going on?
So did we record the Coppin State line?
Not
Did
yet.
we get that in?
No, not yet. We haven't.
Okay, so let's go to Coppin State. I was already speaking about them earlier. This is a team that's done a great job at covering for us and cashing tickets for us. No point in getting off the train now. What number can you get me? Or has this game already gone off the board? Sorry, I'm scrolling through 60 games. Yeah, it's at 7 o'clock. So
yeah, you're -10. -10's your best one at the moment.
I'm going to take, can I get Coppin State plus 10.5?
Yes, you can. There's plenty of it available, and it's all at -110.
All right, so lock me in for that, please, Flash.
Okay, Coppin State plus 10.5, plus 10 and a bit at -110. Yeah, you're happy with that.
The next
Coppin
game
State
that I want
plus
to
10.
add is the Utah Valley game.
Right.
So Utah Valley, this is a play that I want to make on the spread. So we know that the line opened at -1 for Utah Valley, or pick them in some spots. Now it's up to 2.5. I think that Utah Valley is in a good position to take advantage of a Mount St. Mary's team that's just really had a ball-busting schedule. This Mount St. Mary team has played the University of Kentucky, University of Washington, and the University of Georgetown. Plus, they lost to Lamar. So I'm looking for TJ Washington to dominate down low. I'm looking for Utah Valley to win this game wire to wire. This is a Mount St. Mary team that plays very good defense, doesn't shoot the 3 ball well, relies on Jalen Gibbs, Vado Morse, and Malik Jefferson in the front court. I think tonight they're outmatched. I think that Utah Valley is able to get shots wherever they want, and I trust Utah Valley from the line. So even though it's already at this line, I would still recommend getting on it. So if you can get 2, if you can get a 1, if you have an account at Bet Online and you can get that -1 at -115, I would take that, and that's what I'm going to make my official show record, Flash.
Yeah, I don't want to throw you under the bus here, Max, but I've got Farshed Hassami saying, can you ask Max his best free bets? Don't do it now. Just do it once you've had a little scoot over, maybe at the end of the show. So, Farshad, don't go anywhere, and you may well get rewarded with a little parlay. Back on it, Max.
All right, so we got the Utah Valley -1, -115 at Bet Online recorded, Flash?
Yeah, all done.
Okay, perfect. All right, so this is a game that I have a little bit of hesitation in giving out, but I'm going to give it out because I believe in this team. I rarely get excited for a basketball game on a card like this because I just have so many picks I can't get excited about one spot. But I'm going to get excited about this spot, and it's the Auburn and it's the Richmond game. First off, how impressive has Richmond been? Going, playing Wisconsin last night, playing their type of basketball, and coming out with the win. You know what? I'm impressed. I think that this Richmond team matches up very nicely against Auburn. Nathan Kao, Grant Golden on one side. You got freaking Austin Wiley, Daniel Purifoy on the other side. You got really good guard and point guard play with Javon McCormick versus Jacob Gilliard. And of course, you got my X factor in this game, and the guy that I think that's going to be able to help us cash a plus ticket is Nick Sherrod. Nick Sherrod coming back from a season-ending injury last year. He is the missing link to this Richmond team. I think that the A10 is flying high right now, and I think that this team has a lot of confidence. Jacob Gilliard won a game as a floor general going 1 for 5 from the field against Wisconsin. Tonight, he'll need a better performance. I think we're going to get that kind of the usual Jacob Gilliard, almost 20 points per game. I think that the major difference for me in this Richmond team is they make their free throws. Auburn gets to the line a lot. They get to the line close to 30 times a game. So Richmond will have to worry about their depth getting tested. But I do think that scoring-wise, Richmond can go bucket for bucket with them. I think that this game is going to be defensive also, based on seeing that line open at 147 and go down to around 143 the last time I looked at it. I expect Richmond to stay in this game. I expect this game to go down to the last couple minutes and for Auburn to eventually win the game. I just do not think 9.5 points is a tall enough order for them to do. So I'm going to take Richmond plus 9.5, Flash, if you can give me my best number.
Okay, well, I can give you the best number, but I mean, it's a popular choice because the boys are already saying that they would like to be on Richmond and the 9.5. Let me have a quick look just as I scale down. Richmond 9.5 minus 110, minus 105, and that is with Heritage minus 105 for the plus 9.5. Richmond versus Auburn. Back at it, my lad.
All right, so the next game that I want to add is going to go to excuse me, sorry, I just lost my spot on my sheet. It's going to be this Colgate-Green Bay game. So simple as this. I don't trust Colgate scoring-wise. I don't trust them from the three-point line, that's for sure. We saw what happened in the game against Cal Sun. They went like four for something, 4 for 20, maybe worse than that. I can't remember the stat off the top of my head now. But this is a Green Bay team that I think against a particular type of opponent, they do have some advantages, and I think against this Colgate team, they do have some advantages. I look for Cam Hankerson and McLeod to really have a good scoring night tonight against this Colgate team. Colgate has a lack of size in the backcourt from my perspective. Jordan Burns and Nelly Cummings are not really the tallest guards, and I think that you can get your shot over them, and I think that Green Bay is going to be able to do that. Green Bay had to play their ass off last night to not lose to that same Cal Sun Northridge team, and I think that both these teams should be on better points tonight. I am worried about Green Bay coming off playing last night, but I do think that they're ready for Colgate, and I think that if you want to give me 4 points, I'm jumping on that. So give me Green Bay plus 4, please, Flash.
You've got Green Bay plus 4. On you go.
All right, so I have to just look here at a first half that I want to give out. So in this Rutgers game tonight, obviously we know Rutgers is playing NGIT. This is an in-state rivalry type game. I'm looking at this from a spot where NGIT has been very good starting games at home and has been starting games on the road poorly. I think that they stay within the number full game, but my numbers had, if I can get Rutgers at 8 points or less on the first half, that was going to be a play that I'm going to make. And I think that I'm going to make it. I'm going to give it out for the show tonight. It is a big number, but I do think that Rutgers is able to cover it this time. We did cash going against them in the first half against Stephen F. Austin. I just think that this NGIT team is going to come to play in the second half. I think that Rutgers may be able to build a decent lead in the first. It does give me a little bit of pause that Pinnacle's hanging a plus 7.5, juiced at minus 122. So they're clearly trying to get action. They're trying to sway people from not laying it at their book. Now I may have to actually revisit this when I'm looking at these odds. No. Okay. I'm trusting myself. We're going Rutgers minus 7.5 first half, and the best line that you can get and that we can get for the show is minus 109 at Pinnacle Flash.
Minus 109. I've got a little question here. Mohammed Jomo's in the house, and that's obviously one of Jimmy's lines. He's loving that. Flash, would you mind asking Max if he's a play on Virginia Tech at Dayton tonight, please?
Yes. So what happened, what I did with this game was Dayton opened at -1. I hit them on the money line, minus 125. Then when I saw the line go up to 4 in this Virginia Tech game, excuse my mispronunciation of the English word, but I'm simply taking Virginia Tech plus 4. I'm trying to go for the middle. I'm not going to make it an official show play, but it was just something that I just saw a little bit of value in. Virginia Tech very easily can win this game tonight. We've seen the emergence of pretty much a brand new roster that none of the preseason prognosticators were predicting would show up and make this kind of contribution. But this Virginia Tech team has been good for your bankroll. And I have to keep that in mind. But I also have to keep in mind that this Dayton team, where do they play? They play in the A-10. What has the A-10 been doing? Kicking ass, taking names, and sending people to a certain value where we like to send our bookies to on a daily basis. This Dayton team is going to have a challenge scoring the basketball against Virginia Tech, but I think that Virginia Tech's going to have the same issue. I think that it's going to come down to depth, and that's where I trust a game-breaking player like Obi Toppin over a guy like Landers Nolly. So, yeah, if I'm looking at this spot, it was Dayton when it opened, Virginia Tech with the line move, respecting it, and I'm just trying to middle on this game.
Well, you've talked yourself into an under, surely. What's the total?
Well, the total's in the 130s. I'm not really interested in the total. I'd be more looking towards the over, if anything. Yeah. I think that both these teams, if they're playing a tight game, there's going to be free throws at the end. I think that both these teams can make free throws. And when teams can make free throws, especially when Dayton makes at close to 72% and Virginia Tech at almost 70%, that gives me enough pause that they can make enough free throws at the end to get it over.
Max, Arizona State minus 11 for Ronnie Christie.
Yeah, that's an Arizona State or pass spot for me, Ron. Arizona State's coming off a game against Virginia. Once you play a team that isn't Virginia, you have a much easier time scoring the basketball, and you probably win by margin. Look what happened in the Syracuse game after Syracuse lost to Virginia. They went and played Colgate, and they smacked them in the mouth with a piece of freaking 2x4.
Okay, and just take it easy. Yes, we did. And Utah Valley at minus 114 at -1. There is a little bit of minus 110 if you want to give up that extra point. But yes, Max likes Utah Valley at -1 at 114. Max, crack on.
I'm actually ready to go to questions from the chat. So anybody that wants to throw in a question that they have, whether it be a first half, a total, or a full game, I'm ready to go. I'm satisfied with my additions, and I don't want to overdo it after having a good, profitable night last night.
Okay then, Max. Well, then we'll have a little look and see what we've got coming through in the chat. Shaf, I like the over as well. Both teams can score. Ronnie Christie, Flash, does Max see anything with West Virginia at -6?
Yeah, this is a game that I'm struggling with because I think that Northern Ohio has shown that they can score the basketball. They demonstrated that against Northern Colorado. And I think that West Virginia isn't going to be able to use the press to their advantage as much. I think that as far as this game, I'd be looking at taking West Virginia, but it's not something that is one of my favorite picks, and it's not my biggest edge on the card.
Okay, what about Radford and Monmouth for Kenneth Heath?
Radford and Monmouth, I bet the under at 132.5, and I bet Radford and -4. I think that Carlick Jones just outclasses anything that Everett Hammonds can do in the backcourt against them. I think that this Radford team is tournament quality, and against a team like Monmouth, they got to go in there, cover the number, and take care of business.
Okay, Hector Rivas says, what's your favourite play, Max?
My favorite play is not yet. We still have a couple minutes till the end of the show, and I'll give my best bet then. And remember, guys, I just broke a 5 or 6 day losing streak on the play of the day. It's not my favorite play. I'm a volume player, and that's how I'm looking at it.
Okay, it's a pass on West Michigan. What about the total in the Missouri game?
Yeah, in this Missouri game, it's a low total, obviously. I think that you have to go over, but it's not a number that I'm going to be moving on. At 130, this is a number that definitely can fall with under. We've seen what happened in that Missouri-Butler game that I took the over 135.5. It stayed under 130. If anything, my advice, if you can buy points and you can use a book like Bet365, sell points, I would sell points on both sides of the total, or on the side of the total that you feel strongly about, because a lot of these games, especially with these neutral court games, with these Power 5 versus Power 5 games, the totals are landing above or under by a good margin, and there's opportunity to eliminate juice and make a plus price.
I know you might be repeating yourself, but Deerslayer wants to know about Clemson and Colorado.
Yeah, I haven't talked about this game, and for Deerslayer, a fellow Alabama fan, roll tide, roll, let's go. Get those chicken tenders in you. This is a game that I really don't want to bet.
What sauce? Your chicken tenders, what sauce? Barbecue or honey?
Oh, honey all the time, Flash. We don't do barbecue because we know what kind of gas that creates, and it's not good gas.
And the problem I have is I eat 7 or 8 of the tenders and I look down and I forgot to actually dip it. I need about 25 tenders. Anyway, back on it.
All right, so what question were we what game were we going to just talk about?
Yeah, I want to ask you to give us your plays of the day.
Okay, well, there's only going to be one play of the day, and obviously I'm hesitant to give a play of the day because I hate the play of the day, and Jimmy makes me do it. So I'm going to do it again for you guys tonight.
But you don't have to. You don't have to, Max. Listen.
Oh no.
Listen. The cat's away, so the mice will play. If you don't want to give a play of the day, you don't do it. But you know Jimmy won't be happy if you don't give it.
Yeah, the boys are in the chat. I love the boys in the chat. These are the low baggers that I've come up in the show with. I can't deny them what they want. If they want something from me, like my guy Perfect Rotation, my guy Arthur Mead, Prince of the City, the Sports Keg CEO Jason Palia. Of course, I got a lot of guys in there. Shaf, Mohammed Joma, Kenneth, Deerslayer, Ronnie Christie, O'Rockin, a bunch of other guys. I'm not going to freaking go through it all, but let me look at the board. Let me look at my card. Let me decide what I'm going to go with. And you know what? I'm going to take a play that I'm going to have a little apprehension about, but I'm going to give you, and I'm going to give you guys confidently. I'm going to be taking Houston Baptist under 161.5 if it's still available. This is a game where we're going up against one of the fastest-paced teams in Division I basketball in Houston Baptist. I pray that Coach Sampson knows this about Houston Baptist, knows that they want to come in and give a good game, but they don't want to play at this type of pace. You don't want to give an opportunity to Ian DeBow and Jarrell Gates to go off from the three-point line, grab a rebound, run up and down the floor, and throw up shots. Houston's got to lock them down, shut them down, use the use the length that you have with Nate the Professor Hinton and DeJon Jarreau at the guard spots to frustrate Houston Baptist 6'1" and 6'2" scoring guards and keep this an ugly game. I don't want to see 80 points in the first half. I want to see 60. I want to see this game go under by freaking 20 points. So I'm going to take Houston Baptist, Houston, under 160, under 161 at minus 110 for my play of the day.
Thank you very much, Max. Max, you really are a giant, and you're not going to hear that very often, but you are a giant when it comes to NCAAB capping. Volume is off the charts. You're over the 4 figures already. I've got to thank you from everyone that's in the chat. I've just got to go and have some rest now. May all your bets be winners tonight. But listen, 24 and 13 yesterday, over 6 units of profit. Go eat, my friend. Tenders is the way to go. And maybe just have a sprinkle of barbecue sauce.
All right, Flash. It's great having you hosting the show, and it's great being here with the low baggers. Obviously, we're hopefully to get on the money tonight. I'm going to be on that live betting apps for all my books, watching these lines, watching these games, and hopefully I can tweet out some more winners for you guys tonight. Have a great night.
Okay, thanks, Max. But just before you go, Kenneth E. Flash, can you ask Max about Butler and Stanford? We did that. We like Stanford at plus 3.5 at 105, but Max said it's risky. Okay, then, Max, you go and get some rest, and we'll see you very, very soon.
All right, take care.
No worries at all. This is that time of the day when I normally sit there. Jimmy, the boss, sits here, and he calls on Freddie.
Oh my God, Jimmy, I'm so... Wait,
It's not Jimmy. It's not Jimmy.
where's Jimmy?
Your dreams have come true. Now Jimmy's away, I can look after you properly.
Are you sure?
I can look after you. Do you want to bring a chair over?
Yeah,
Come and bring a chair.
I told the people the other day.
How have you was going to retire, weren't you?
No, I told the people the other day about our great time singing karaoke at the Hollywood.
You tried to help me as well, didn't you? You
Yeah.
knew I was dying, because I've never been a singer, and you tried to help me. I heard you.
Yeah.
I heard you trying to help me.
Yeah.
I was bad. Not as
No.
bad as some of them pics you've been putting out, though.
Oh well, my last let me see, my last 2 plays won.
Did they?
Yeah, both
Oh.
are Spanish futsal, so
Oof. Where are we going today with it?
Spanish futsal again.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're not going to leave it. You're just going to ride that train.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. I
Until
like
I
that.
die.
Are things improved at home?
No, of course not. My
No.
wife. Well, my wife is still calling me. She's asking me for money, but I don't have any money. I can barely eat here at SBR.
You look as if
Maybe.
you've lost a bit of weight, to be honest. You still on the floor?
No,
You got a mattress now?
no, I got a closet.
Closet? You
Yeah.
sleep standing up?
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
Oh, it sounds it. It sounds it. Wow. What do you do for kicks around your way if that's funny? Okay, give them the play.
It's Spanish futsal again. The place for tomorrow. It's Inter Movistar first half. Over Murcia. At plus 137 at Bet365. Yeah, that's my play.
That's it? I've waited all day to call you in for that play. Is it a winner? What was the price?
Plus 137.
Whoa! It's plus 137.
I thought we were friends, Slash.
We are. Well, listen. You're growing on me. You're growing on me. Let's say that. Did I offer you to stay in my spare room? Didn't I?
Yeah.
I did offer, and you declined. So instead of staying at a lovely condo that's got everything from tennis courts to football pitches, Olympic pool to a pool overlooking the whole of San Jose, and you'd rather stay in a closet.
I'm trying to help Larry with his heroin addiction, but I
Good.
think that's a mistake.
Well, no, but if you're giving, it's always better to give than receive. Remember that.
Okay.
Okay? Do you want to do the leche?
My leches suck.
Why does that not surprise me? Give me a leche. Come on, my
Okay,
friend.
let's see. Leche. Oh, and those bookmakers. Did you like it?
I loved it.
Yeah.